Hi there, I'm Buddha, and you're watching Dr. Guitar, a show for all you guitarists out there. In today's episode, we're doing a special, different thing. I'm not in my studio, I'm in a village close to my hometown, uh, and we just finished recording the pre production of the next Budda Power Blues record. So I wanted to show you what did I do with as guitar concerns, but also since I'm also a producer and a mixing and recording engineer, I would like to give you an insight of how I did the whole pre-production recording. I think you might be interested. So today we're going to review my gear. I'll show you what guitars I bring, the pedals, the amp, how I mic'd it, and then we'll go to the bass and to the drums to show it. For those of you that might not know what is a pre-production, uh, we gathered the band in here. We moved away from our homes, from our hometown, so we're out of home, living and sleeping here for 5 days. Well, it should be 5 days, but we only spent three. That was enough. And we came here. I had a lot of ideas, like 20 song ideas, super unfinished, and we came here. We got together to play together and to do the arrangements and to songwrite it and make it into a song. So we were here 3 days in a row, recording and playing and trying new ideas. When the idea was cool, we recorded it, and that's it. So now we have 10 songs recorded into Pro Tools with finished. So we will be recording the record, the real record, probably in September. And we'll be doing it in my studio, where I have a lot more, a better sounding room, a lot more equipment, a lot more tracks, because we did it in 10 tracks here. And we'll be doing it with better mic pre's, better outboard, and better room. And we will not be learning the songs as we are recording it. We'll be super focused, super tight, because the experiments, we did it in the pre-production. And that's a huge part for me. The pre-production is super important in that sense, because you are allowed to experiment anything. And if it doesn't work, you have time to re-listen to it and to change things and to think better about the arrangement. But in the pre-production, it's creative time. It's make it interesting, try stupid ideas, and anything goes. So I will show you with that mind process. I brought 4 guitars because I didn't know what I would need. So I brought my nags, of course, my chop tank nags. That if you are following the channel, you probably you probably have seen this guitar too many times. But it's really my favorite guitar of all, and it ended up being in 95% of the songs, because it's the sound, it's my tone. But then I brought the telly. My Fender telly, because it does a thing. I even broke a string just in the last song, but it does a thing. It's a telly. So if I needed a telly, and I have needed it, I use the out of phase combination in one song, and the neck, I think I just don't remember, but I used it, and it does this thing. In case if you're wondering what is this, the string, the E string was always being caught beneath the pickup, so I had to do this shitty arrangement, but it works. It makes the string not be caught in here. So the Fender Tele, which I thought I would use a lot more, but the Nags did it way better. Then I brought the inevitable PRS DGT for two reasons. It has the tremolo arm, the vibrato arm, and it has a humbuckers. So if I needed it, and I end up needing it a lot too, I would have a tremolo vibrato guitar with humbuckers for the humbucker tone, the BB King, and the jazzier tone. And the secret weapon of choice, and probably the one you guys, if you guys have been following the channel, you probably don't know it, the Line 6 James Tyler Variax. Why did I brought it? Because it has a lot of tunings. I will cover it in a next episode, in some future episode. I will show you in detail the guitar, but it has different tunings. It has different modeling guitars, but I mainly use it because of the tunings. So we have open C songs, open D, open G, open F sharp, dead gad, one tone up. So it allows me to changing this knob, simply changing the tuning here. It allows me to go easily between tunings. So I have not the need of tuning the guitar and making the band wait. So it's really quick. Probably for the record, I won't do it with the Variax. I will tune a guitar properly for the song because I already know in which tunings I will be playing because the songs are written. But for a quick thing and for live, I use it all the time for live applications. It's a great guitar. And besides that, it has a really good banjo and a really good sitar and a really good resonator modeling. So it actually ended up in a song that is supposed to be played with a resonator, that we decided here that this is a resonator song. This is not an electric guitar song. So I ended up emulating the resonator tone into the recording. I played it as if I was playing it with a resonator and slide. I'll do it in the record with a real resonator, but it works really good. In the last record we did, I even ended up using the solo I did in pre-production in the same house. I ended up using the solo I did with this guitar, so it's really believable. And I forgot to mention, this house is from a friend of ours, my dear good friend Chico, and he lent us the house so we can be here for 3 days locked out with a beautiful site out there and a swimming pool. So we are really relaxed and really inspired. It's not the best sounding room in the world, but it sounds really good. It sounds okay. And for pre-production purposes, it's great. Okay, let's move on to the pedals. You've seen the guitars. So the pedals I've used for the pre-production. I've chosen this board because I'm really in love with this Simplicity board. And as you know, in Budda Power Blues, I usually use my Boss ES8 system, but I find it better to use in a live setting. So where I program all my tones into it, all my presets, and I can, when I'm performing live, I can concentrate on playing and singing and not being switching pedals and making the tap dance. Before the pre-production, I can change it song by song. I can readjust all the effects. So it's an easier footprint. It's really small, so it's easier to carry too because we brought a lot of stuff. in the same van. So I thought it would be easier, and I end up never using a lot of the pedals as usual because I can tweak the amp, etc. So let's go to the pedals. It's super simple. The Roger Mayer Voodoo Vibe, which I didn't use in any of the songs, but it was here. The full tone ultimate octave, which I end up using the octave up effect in one song. The Buddha font, which I didn't use. The Dover Drive, which is a fucking great pedal. It's a blend between a fuzz and an overdrive, and I end up using it in a power song in C open tuning. The King of Tone, the trusty King of Tone, I used it all the time. So I have the amp clean, the first channel, which is a light overdrive with no much volume change, and a clean boost, which is cleaner, not overdriven, but great. So this is my 3-channel amp. Like, I have the Supro in a setting. This is a little more drive. This is the same setting, a little driven, but a little louder. And this is the extreme. Never too much of an overdrive, but it's more of a dynamic thing. So I have the M9, my trusty M9, with my live effects. By the way, this is my traveling pedal board, so this is what I take to fly gigs, so I'm really used to play with this. I have a slapback here, an octave, a slow and a fast Leslie, a very ambient delay with a lot of repeats and modulations mimicking the Memory Man, and a one repeat, longer one repeat delay. So simple. I used it quite a bit, but the most I've ever used was the King of Tone with its settings, and then the Supro amp, which is here mic'd as usual with my favorite mic of all time, the Beyer M160, the Beyer Dynamic, which is in a great system, the amp clamp, which is here. This is good because you can set it wherever you want. It grabs to the amp, and if you grab the mic, the amp, it goes with the mic. So it doesn't change the mic in position. The Supro Royal Reverb, I usually mic it dead center because it has a cross over here. It has a wood cross, so it doesn't get the center of the speaker. It's blocked by the wood, so you don't have the sharp brightness of usually miking an amp in the center cone, and you have a great tone, and the mic is super. As always, I'm using the lava cables. I use the retro coil because it adds a little fatness to the tone and takes off a little brightness, which I like, especially because I use single coils most of the time, so it makes my guitar sound a little warmer and a little less shrill. And I also like to use pedals in front of the amp because it takes a little off the treble too, so it makes it sound a little warmer, even if I don't use the pedals on. Even if they are all in bypass, I always use the pedals because I prefer the tone that way. Then I use the Lava Ultramafic cable into the amp. And this is a very super high-end, super expensive cable. The opposite to the retro coil, so it doesn't take anything off. So I find that if I have already taken the sum of the high end with retro coil and with all the cables between the pedals, I might as well get the best out of the output cable. So that's it. I'm using the Supro, and that was the secret. I'm really in love by this amp. I've told you and even the guys in the band have noticed a lot of difference. So I used a lot of treble, a little bit of bass because it's really bassy. The volume was always, this is the last song, so it was a real quiet song with a PRS, which is a very high output, but I usually use it here in middle or in here. It depends on the song. A lot of reverb between here and here, but usually a lot. And I end up using tremolo for some spaghetti western feel, and it was it. So the amp by itself sounds amazing. I don't need to, I usually use an overdrive to make it sound a little compressed, or a compressor even. But with this amp, I didn't have the need to use the compressor or the overdrive. I end up using it a lot, guitar to amp, through the pedals, but not using the pedals. Then for the bass, super simple setup. We mic'd the cab with a 421, a vintage one. There's 421 that my friend Tony got me in Germany. And the bass head is not here, but it is a Tech amp too, a Puma Tech amp. And we took out the DI with this cable. So there was mic and DI, so we can be safe, and we have a clean signal, and a mic better, a more realistic signal. But it has some bleed because we record everything live, so there's drums and guitar in this mic. Okay, the drums usually use a lot more mics because it's a bigger instrument, and it's harder to get the tone with one mic. But I usually mic it so I can use the few microphones as possible. In the kick drum, we're using my favorite kick drum mic, and this is a huge kit, a John Bonham-like kit. So it's very dynamic, very big sounding, very reverberant. You hear it's super, everything is reverberating. So I love the SM7 for a kick drum mic, this kick drum mic, because it is not too modern, and we're not looking for a modern sound. We're looking for a Zeppelin-esque, Hendrix 70s, 60s, more 70s drum sound. So we are not wanting the super low and the super kick thing. We're wanting the John Bonham kick drum sound. So I usually mic it in this manner, usually a 45 degrees to the head, but it wasn't working the 45 degrees because it was getting a lot of bleed from the snare, and I was getting a lot of snare tone into this mic, and it was ruining the snare tone. It's not, I don't care about bleed, so we record live with everyone in the same room. So I love bleed, but sometimes bleed is not good, and you need to find the good bleed. So this was perfect tone-wise, and the kick drum was simple as this. We can go here. This is the room mic, which is a figure of 8, a very inexpensive mic, Thomann T-Bone RB 500. It's super inexpensive, like 99 euros. But it's okay. It's a ribbon mic. It sounds good. I usually compress a lot and distort a lot of the room mic, so it works perfectly. And then attached to it, there's this little DPA, which is a very expensive high-end, well, not very expensive, but a high-end mic, and it's attached to this magnet. So you put it here, and it is omni. So the ribbon mic, the T-Bone, the huge one, is figure of 8, which means it hears sound from this direction and from this direction. And it rejects a lot of the sound coming from this side and from this side. So it's capturing the room in those directions. I usually mic it really close to the drum because you hear a lot more of the room. So it is rejecting the tone that is coming directly from the drums, but it is hearing the tone that is coming back from the room. So the sound has to go to that wall and come over here, and has to go to that wall and come over here. So it travels, you almost double the length of the tone. As opposite, if I direct it, if I put the mic aiming the drums, it will be a lot more a drum mic. In this way, it is a room mic. And since the room is not super big, and the DPA, it's omnidirectional, so it's capturing in every direction, but it's blocked by the microphone a little bit, so it's rejecting the drum sound a little bit. And I'm using it as an MS configuration, so this will be the middle. I have 2 tracks of the same ribbon mic, one to the left, one to the right, and then I flip the polarity on one of the tracks, so I get the side, and this will be the middle. So when I'm mixing, I can use as much as I want from the middle or as much as I want from the sides, and it gives me a real great stereo. So it is the room mic. We have drums, bass, and guitar in the same mic, and that's why we put the amps on the side to the drums, not aiming the drums, so they are aiming towards this wall, and they are the most rejection out of the amp is from the side. It's from here, so the amp plays the less in this direction. It plays really great to the front and sometimes to the back. Not the bass cabinet, because the bass is closed back, but my Supro is open back, so it plays to behind, to the back, and to the front, but it doesn't play a lot to the side. So we are minimizing the bleed of the guitar into the drum mics. Okay, so we covered room, kick drum, then no toms. Whoa, crazy guy. So let's come over here, and we have the snare mic, the usual snare mic, which is a normal snare mic. It's the Audix i5, the snare mic they have. It's a great mic. I love it. We always use it because it has a little more top end than an SM57. So I don't like to use the bottom snare mic. So this gives me that edge that the bottom snare mic does without having to deal with phase problems. So Audix i5, and then the Biodynamic M130 as an overhead. And it's not, if you notice, it's not here on the drums. It's not above the skin, the heads. It's not above the toms and the snare. It's not miking the cymbals. It's miking the drummer's head. So the drummer is sitting here, and this is hearing as close as possible as the drummer is listening. So it's not here listening to the heads. I find it better because here it has a lot of attack from all the drum heads, and I don't like it. I like it to be a little more rounded. This is a ribbon mic, so it is the cousin or brother to the M160. It is the one that was invented to use for MS technique. So this is a pair to the M160, and you could use it the same way I used in the room with the T-Bone. I could use this one and then the Biodynamic M160 right here, aiming there. So it would be center and sides. I have the exact same mic here, the M130 in the Glyn Johns configuration. So, or kind of a Glyn Johns configuration. I don't like the Under S or the other mic from Glyn Johns to be above the toms, because it will be super unbalanced. So this tom will be super loud and this will be not as loud, and the snare will be dead. So in here, we get a lot of the kick drum, a lot of the kick drum that the drummer hears, not the kick drum that someone that is standing in front of the drum. So we have a lot of kick drum information. This one also has a little bit more of kick drum information than if it was standing here. So it's a better balanced tone to me. And we have the adaptation of the Wurst microphone, which is also a DPA. I've never tried it with a DPA. I usually use an SM57. But for convenience, so we don't carry another mic stand, and the room is small, so we wouldn't have enough space. I used another DPA here with the magnet, but a little in to the drum, so it's kind of equidistant to the snare, the tom, and the other tom. So we have and the kick drum. So we have this mic getting the balance of the drums. Since it is omnidirectional, it is hearing the cymbals too. I'm compressing it in order to make it punchy and to sound more snappy. So I get a lot of the kick from the kick drum, the click, the ka-ka, and the snare. I have a lot of, it's almost like an under snare mic, but it is hearing all of this. As Nikos is using 3 toms, so this tom will be a little sacrificed, but usually with 2 toms configuration, it is a great mic to use. But I use it as a special effect, like for distorting drums or things like that. Well, that's it. I hope you have liked the show. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it with the world, and we'll see each other next week.